My name is Matt Rudisell, and I've been a business owner for the past 24 years, helping others get what they want out of life. I help people and businesses grow with the help of one-on-one coaching, social media assistance, and planning that will get them to that next level. But instead of working with you myself, I developed this podcast to share with you what others are actually doing. These people are your neighbors, your friends, could also be you. But do you consider yourself an expert? Do you know someone who is? Have you ever wondered what it takes to become that person? Well, today in this episode of the Experts Game podcast, our guest will share with you the struggles, hardships, and successes they've experienced on their way to becoming an expert in their field. You don't want to miss it, so grab your notebook and pen, and we'll get started in just a moment. Hey guys, welcome back to the Experts Game podcast. My name is Matt Rudisell and I'm your host. Today we are excited to have a very special guest in the studio with us today. His name is Alan Clark, and I met Alan probably 24 years ago back in Morganton, North Carolina. I know that sounds like a long time.
It sounds weird saying numbers that big. I don't even like using numbers that big.
But it has been a good while, and I met Alan actually in one of his seminars, and he may have had a little bit of responsibility for me getting into teaching as well. I'm very fortunate to have met Alan and very thankful for all of the information and the advice that he gave me back at that time. But I want to give a little introduction to some of the stuff that he does, and he can expand on this a little bit more. Alan is the founder and the managing member of the Hatters Group, and they've been in business since, I think, 1998.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 20 plus years. Yeah.
Wow, that is fantastic. And basically what they do is they're a collaborative team of professional advisors working with entrepreneurs, business owners, and executives to buy, sell, and grow privately held companies with a $500,000 to $150 million in annual sales every year. And they represent the lower end or the middle market of businesses. So they are working to promote these companies and to help, sell these. And his tagline that he has on LinkedIn that I pulled, which I think is really interesting, it says,
Lord, I haven't looked at that. You'll surprise me what it is. I don't know what I put on there.
Well, I really like it because it says creating options to acquire, grow, and sell companies in the lower middle market. And I think that's what most of us consultants do really well, or we try to, is to create options. So, Alan, welcome to the podcast today. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
No, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the kind words. And it's it's been a pleasure to know you over the years. And I know we don't see each other as much since you're moved 20 minutes away, but just to give you a little more color on kind of where I'm coming from. Kind of grew up here in the local area here in Morganton and had an opportunity to move back. I actually went to college at NC State and pursued some professional opportunities, but I was an entrepreneur when I was a kid. I sold chicken eggs and produce, and college, me and a buddy started a grass cutting business, and just one thing after another. I've had different things since I was a young kid. And so when I was probably in my late 20s, just 3 or 4 years out of college, I wound up buying a small business through a business broker in Atlanta. And I was living in Atlanta at the time, spent my MBA tuition money on that business and wound up losing. The point is I lost money in that deal and learned a lot of lessons. Went on to wind up getting into this business, joined a firm doing business brokerage in Atlanta, and then just over the years, kind of worked my way up the food chain a little bit and did larger deals and set off on my own and set up the Hatters Group. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, after the last economic crisis, coming out of that, I started getting some other people involved. So we have about 4 or 5 of us that work at it full time. And like I said, helping people buy and sell small companies, kind of that, we call that the lower end of the middle market. And that's the bulk of businesses in America, really. And then along the way there, I've come across opportunities to buy and sell companies on my own. So I help other people buy and sell. I've bought and sold some on my own. A textile mill, we did a turnaround and sold it. Woodworking business I still own, we talked about. And then just recently, a small kind of piece of another business that we spun out, a door and hardware business out of another distributor. So I don't know, that kind of does that give you a taste of what I'm doing and where I came from?
Definitely so. What made you kind of choose the particular business? I mean, I think, I know you said you had the opportunity to purchase a business earlier, but what got involved, or what intrigued you the most about it then that made you say, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Well, I didn't say that. I said, this is what I'm going to do now. I've never decided, the only thing I'm going to do for the rest of my life is probably just be an entrepreneur, I guess. But, I'd come out of getting out of a bad situation in a business. I had sold it for, less than I had in it. And so I was looking for new opportunities. This is like in the mid 90s, late 90s, I guess. And I started looking into being a stockbroker, and I talked to people and interviewed people and what it was going to take to get into that, because I've always had an interest in business and the markets and such. But then I ran into a guy who used to supply my business. He had a drink machine route, and that was his business, and he sold it. I met him somewhere. He said, yeah, I sold that business, and I went to work for the broker who sold the business. And he started telling me what he was doing. I said, man, that sounds kind of fun. He's working with small companies, meeting, owners and working for himself, and didn't require as much training and very, unregulated, like, securities sort of stuff. So I went to work with the same firm he was working with in Atlanta. It was a Sunbelt Business Broker franchise office. And about a year after I started working there, and I closed a pretty good deal. And then the guy who owned that office I don't know what happened really. It kind of just fell apart. So a couple of us left and raised our own flag and kind of started our own practice. So that's how I wound up on this path, and just been there ever since. I don't know what else to do now, Matt.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
If I applied for a job, nobody would hire me. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way on that one. You kind of caught me with what my words were on that. I understand that. I said, what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you said, no, wait a second, that's not true. And that is pretty much true for every entrepreneur. Yeah. We just kind of go with what we're doing now, and what we may be doing, 6 months down the road or a year or two down the road could be completely different. I think that if I had the ability to sell off everything right now, I probably would. And I would just go live in the workshop and just build furniture the rest of my life. That's probably what I would do. If I didn't have to worry about selling it or anything like that, I'd just probably give it all away. So tell me one thing, Alan. Is there one thing, maybe a couple of things, that you think have made you successful?
Well, I think at the end of the day, in my personal situation, I think I have a set of people skills that, have served me well over time. People, when I get to know them or meet them and talk to them a little bit, they'll trust me. And that's key in the business that I'm in. And then I'm pretty persistent. I don't give up. I'm willing to take risks that other people aren't willing to take. I'm willing to work for 6 to 12 months without making a paycheck, and get rewarded on the other end for that. Sometimes I have been, and sometimes I haven't. So I'd say those would be the different things: kind of people skills, probably persistence, and then just I have a natural interest and passion for just small business, and when I meet a new business owner, learning their story, how they got to where they are, the good and bad things they've done in their business. All those things fascinate me. So I have a genuine interest in it. And if you have a genuine interest in something, it's not work when you're working on it. You know, it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the major underlying factors, pretty much with everybody I've talked to in this podcast, is passion. And I honestly believe that if you don't have passion for what you do, then eventually you're going to stop. You know, you're not going to be doing it forever and ever, because you've got to be able to wake up every morning and be excited about what you do.
Absolutely.
I think I know the answer to this question, because it's probably like mine, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Can you describe your average work day?
Well, you know, you sent me that question, and there's nothing average. You know, I tell people the only thing I do the same every day is drink coffee. And I get first thing in the morning, I make a pot of coffee and I drink a pot of coffee. And but other than that, no 2 days really look alike. You know, a typical day is in today's world, especially, is a lot of email, a lot of communication. Just whether I'm trying to reach out and connect and create a new contact in another business, or if I'm working with, you know, companies we're taking to market, or I'm working with the folks in the 2 other companies I have, I'm just constantly communicating. And you know how that is today. You'll do it with email, you'll do it with a phone call, you'll do it with a Zoom or a Google Meet or whatever it is, you know, text and all the different tools you have. And so it's just a constant, you know, 8 to 10 hour day of communication is what you're doing. But then spiced in there, you know, I'll be analyzing somebody's business, maybe the financials. I might be reviewing some financials and trying to help them understand the value of their company, the current value, you know, maybe identify some of the key drivers that would improve the value or make it more marketable. You know, and I wear a lot of hats. So I'm my own IT guy, I'm my own digital marketing person, you know, I'm my own social media person. So, you know, none of them get done well, but all of them get done a little bit. And, you know, that's pretty much my day. No 2 are the same. And an average day is just a lot of talking and communicating.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought you would probably say, but I know I did send you a few of these questions in advance, but I'm gonna throw one at you right now that I did not. On the bookshelf behind you, there is a book called The Goal. You see it over to the left? Nope, to the left side of your trophy. The Goal by Elliot Goldrock. Have you read it?
Yeah, I've got 2 copies of it. That's not an easy read.
Nope.
But that is the standard for production planning and things that I don't understand. So I got in this woodworking business, and actually it was the guy from you probably know him, the guy that used to be over at the SBTDC Center, Byron, I think.
Hicks. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Byron Hicks. He recommended that book, and it helped me a bit, but that's probably trying to manage a manufacturing process or help manage that is that's a challenging thing to me. I know other people are really good at it. But we've implemented a few tidbits out of there, but yeah.
Very challenging book to read. I had to read it when I was in college. And it's one of the few that I remember. I mean, college for me was 93, 94 is when I graduated. So, I mean, we're looking at almost 30 years ago. And one of the few books that I do remember, but I don't remember a lot from it. I just remember it was challenging. It was tough to read.
Well, it's a tough read, but it's the type of book, and I have some other books that are that way, that instead of writing a technical book, they write a story and with lacing in the technical information. And that is a good way for me to learn technical information and concepts and things, is in that storytelling format. And I do like that part of the book.
Yeah, and I did too. And I think that even though it was challenging, that was, you know, it was a book that will always kind of stick with me, even though I haven't really used a lot of the stuff from it, or maybe I have, and I just haven't really realized it, but it was written that way. So I thought I would throw that in. Let me ask you this question.
Here's one. I tell you what.
We work.
I'm throwing you a curveball. This is a book you ought to read, though.
Mhm.
Some software guys out of Chicago, and I got it about 5 years ago, and I took it off the shelf. I want to reread it, but this rework. There's Jason Fried. These guys have a company called 37 Signals, but it's
I'll read it.
yeah, you'd get a few gems out of there.
I will do that. I have
It's
seen
not,
that book. I just haven't picked it up before.
yeah, it's a little outside the box of your typical conventional kind of business management and
Okay.
such.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's what I like to do. I like to be kind of outside the box and try to be a little creative on when I work with different people and things. I think that's the best way to go, actually. Let me switch gears and ask you another question, not on the book side. I don't ask this to everybody, but I do want to hear your answer because I think it's going to be kind of interesting. What would you do, Alan, if you had to, if everything ended, you had to start it over today? If you had to start over with your business today, what would you do first?
Well, I'd probably take a month off and go fishing, and
Okay.
I'd probably enjoy some downtime and really organize my thoughts and kind of spend that time coming up with a plan, you know. But my expectation coming out of that plan, you know, if I'm trying to come up with a way to earn money again, which is I have to do that. I need to pay my bills. So to be honest, I'd probably restart the same business I'm in now, my primary business of M&A, mergers, acquisitions, and consulting with other business owners. I think.
Hey, Alan, I think you got muted real quick. Can you unmute? Oh, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, sorry. I said, yeah. So if everything was gone, I would still have my experience and knowledge of what I've been doing for 20 plus years. So I think the smartest thing to do would be to leverage that and get back into that business of consulting and advising business owners about buying and selling and financing their companies. And then, you know, as an aside to that, one of a business that kind of fascinates me, that in the back of my head, I'm not good at it. I realize the value of it, and I would be interested in maybe starting up like a digital marketing business if I could find somebody to partner with that had that skill set and use, because I think that's one of the most valuable things today, or just, you know, the ability we have for a small company to leverage all this technology and social media and digital marketing to grow a business. So I'd probably move towards that in setting up, establishing, or buying into, or buying out a small digital marketing practice, find the right people to try to grow that and create a playbook that I could then implement into other businesses. So, because I think that's been my shortcoming, is kind of that marketing side. And if I had a partner business, a sister company that was really good at it, and I could plug, you know, match those up, it would help me grow companies faster.
Wow, that's fantastic. I did not really expect that answer coming through, but I like that a lot because.
What did you expect, I would say?
Well, I guess I did expect that you were going to say, well, I would go back to some of the familiar things that I've done. But I really think that your mindset, and after I've known you, you know, for so many years, just knowing you, I feel like that it wouldn't matter. You know, if you lost it all today, then, you know, 3 months down the road, you would be back at the same.
I've lost it before. I've lost it before. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. I was listening to Grant Cardone. I don't know if you know who Grant Cardone is, but I was listening to him last night on an app called Clubhouse, and he basically said what keeps him hungry is the fact that he doesn't keep money. And I think what he was talking about is he doesn't carry a lot of money with it. But I've actually seen him with, you know, a lot of money. But he just he keeps him passionate and hungry about trying to get more and more and more. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. I think they stay hungry because they don't feel comfortable in a lot of scenarios. So I definitely appreciate that answer.
No, there's not a lot of, you're right about that. There's not a lot of security in working for yourself, if I'd spent the last 23 years working at Bank of America, I could, maybe I would have some security that, they had kind of stashed away a little retirement plan for me, and they had, have some things like that. But if I need to work, I like working, I like providing for my family and trying to create some security. And I don't know what that point is. I don't even, I guess I'll just do that forever. I guess I'll never feel
I know.
enough.
I talk about that a lot too. I say, well, wouldn't it be nice to kind of retire? But I don't think I would want to. I don't think I would ever get to that point where I would feel comfortable enough to say, well, hey, I'm officially retired now. I think I'll work until the day I die.
Well, and I think that's by the time we get to that age, Matt, 65 to 75, when people had traditionally, quote unquote retired, it won't be the same. Our generation will not retire the way other generations have. We'll continue to have, whether it's a side gig or side hustle, or even putting your efforts into nonprofits and things that you're really working in. I mean, I don't think people will call it retirement. I think you just change. The way I picture it is I fish more, travel more, and have full hard days in the office less.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be my retirement.
Definitely so. Well, Alan, today has been fantastic. I definitely have appreciated all of your knowledge. I've got a little fun question here. What is one thing that most people might not know about you? I mean, is there a hobby? I know you like to fish a lot, but is there a hobby or an interest, something that people don't know that you want to share?
Well, most people that meet me, don't realize that I actually have a degree in mechanical engineering, because I don't come across as an engineer, I guess, and I don't work in engineering. So that usually surprises people. And then on top of that, if I tell them I finished 7th in my class in high school, that usually catches them by surprise, because they don't put me in that category. I don't come across as the smartest guy in the room. So.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I've known you for a good while, and I think that in most of the rooms that we've been in together, you've been pretty much close to the top.
I don't know. I doubt that, Matt.
Well, listen, final tip, final thing, if you have a tip or two for somebody that wants to maybe do something similar to what you're doing, or maybe just in business in general, what tips do you have?
Well, I mean, I think in general, I tell people to say, just do something, do anything, take an action, take a step forward. You can, they call it analysis paralysis. And I see that with a lot of people. So I have, if we put a business on the market for sale, we have 50 people contact us, and I say they think they want to buy a business, because very few of those people will ever buy a business, but they think they want to. And most of them will just analyze it so much that they're paralyzed by it. They don't take action on it. So I'm very much the approach, kind of shoot and aim later. So just take a step forward, do something to move towards whatever goal you have, whether it's business or personal, whatever. A lot of visualization. I'm a big believer in the things that you think about in your self-talk, and the pictures you have in your head of what you're going to do a year from now and 10 years from now. And writing those down. I'm a big advocate of journaling and writing down your visions of things you want to do. That sounds silly, but I've gone back and read them 10 years later, and they've come to fruition. It's kind of a magical sort of thing. And then, I totally agree, like you were talking about before, as far as passion, if you're passionate about something, you'll figure out a way to make a living at it, or figure out a way to keep that in your life. So I don't want people to turn their back on their passion just because they think they need to take a crappy job and get a paycheck. Even if you have a good job that you're not super excited about, keep pursuing your passion on the side as a hobby or a side hustle, and eventually that can turn into a lifelong opportunity to support yourself. So
Yeah, most definitely. I think the opportunities are greater now than there probably have ever been in our lifetime.
Oh, the world
Um,
is, yeah. My ADD, I go down rabbit holes every day because I see opportunities everywhere, and I drive myself crazy.
yeah, if you could only get into your brain, your mind, people would probably be a little
They'd be scared. No,
yeah,
they would run
scared.
away.
Try to get out of there. That's how I feel a lot of times. That my head's just hurting. It's because I've got so many ideas running around up there right now.
I'm
Well,
the
Alan,
same.
it has definitely been a pleasure speaking with you today. I
Yeah,
really
it's been
appreciate,
fun.
yeah, everything that you've had to offer, our listeners and stuff. And for you guys who are not subscribed to this podcast, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button because we are going to try to bring you more and more, expert interviews just like this. So I appreciate you guys being with us today. Alan, thanks again. Thanks so much for
Thank you,
being
Matt.
here. And
Appreciate it.
we will see you guys in a few weeks. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Lit.
I'm the producer.
I love these.